unfamiliar cars. Showed her photo arrays. Did any of these men look familiar? Mrs. Patterson pointed to one. That one, I think. Ramirez's stomach dropped. The man in the photo was Victor Reese, known associate of a human trafficking network that operated through rural areas, exploiting vulnerable women and girls. He'd been arrested twice, released both times on technicalities, and he'd been in Redford County the week before Lena vanished. Ramirez brought this to her superiors. This changes everything. We need to reopen this as a possible abduction. But the response was lukewarm. That's a big leap, detective. We have no evidence linking this guy to Lena specifically. Focus on what we can prove. What they could prove was nothing. And the case stayed cold. Matthew remained the unofficial suspect. The town's judgment didn't waver. And Lena stayed missing. Detective Ramirez worked the case for another year. But without new leads, without support from local law enforcement, and without a body, there was only so much she could do. Eventually, she was reassigned. The case file went back into storage. Forgotten, just another tragedy in a town full of them. Years passed. Matthew aged, got grayer, thinner. The weight of being blamed for something he didn't do carved lines into his face. He thought about leaving Redford County, starting over somewhere no one knew his name. But where would he go? He had no money, no prospects. And some part of him felt like leaving would be admitting guilt. So he stayed, worked when he could, lived like a hermit, avoided eye contact. The few people who still believed in his innocence, who'd known him long enough to see through the lies, they'd check on him occasionally. Bring him food, sit with him in silence. It wasn't much, but it was something. At night, alone in his shack with the leaking roof and the graffiti he never cleaned off, Matthew would think about Lena. Wondered if she was alive. Hoped she was. Prayed she'd found a way out. That she was somewhere safe, living the life she'd dreamed about. He never stopped hoping. Even when hope seemed foolish. Even when the entire world had decided he was a monster. Because Matthew knew the truth. And the truth was, he'd tried to save her. He just didn't know if he'd succeeded. 35-0, 45-0, the twist. First revelation. 12 years after Lena disappeared, a woman walked into a police station in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 300 miles from Redford County. She looked exhausted, nervous, like someone who'd been running for a very long time and finally stopped. The desk sergeant looked up. The woman hesitated, her hand